So in this top part, the family is a family of 6. There's parents, grandparents, and 2 kids. So the grandparents are gonna sleep up here, their bed and end table and dresser. The 2 kids are gonna sleep here. They have 2 twin beds and they're gonna share a room. I'm thinking about putting a divider in the middle, not sure. This is the master bedroom that the parents are gonna have. I wanna cut the doorway here, so I'm gonna trace that out. They have a dresser, a bed, and 2 end tables. And the doorway is gonna go into the bathroom. And we have the items here for the bathroom. And this is the living room / dining room. And I'm gonna make a doorway here. I'm gonna trace that out as well. And here is the kitchen. I'm thinking about putting a window here above the sink, where the sink is gonna go. I haven't decided. If I do, I'm gonna have to cut into the side wall. And I'm also thinking of putting this as a window here in the living room, a double window to go here. And then I'm also considering putting like a skylight window up here, which will probably be the same size as this window. And I'm gonna go ahead and decide what I'm gonna do, and I'll show you how I'm gonna make those cuts. I'm gonna use this new tool that I have, this Ryobi tool, and we'll take it from there. This is all the scrap wood I have, well, most of it. And I'm gonna use this to create the furniture and the interior of the dollhouse. So all of this here, the things in this basket, these pieces, and then this is from my crafting supplies, just a whole bunch of wooden pieces here. And I'm gonna use this as well as these paints here, leftover paints, spray paints, and stains to create all the stuff in the dollhouse. And I might have to go to the Dollar Tree to pick up a few things, but nothing major. And I'm gonna see what I can put together with this. So if you're interested in that, please keep watching. The first thing that I'm doing here is using popsicle sticks to create window frames for the windows that I cut out. And I layered this 3 times to make it thicker so it can match the frames that are already on the dollhouse. And this one here is going to go on the living room, dining room cutout that I made. I'm just showing up close how it's layered because the length that I needed is longer than the standard stick. So I just had to glue them together this way. This one is for the kitchen, and then here are all three of the frames that I made. This one is for the skylight piece that I cut out of the roof. And now I'm just using these sticks for window boxes. I'm just going to make those for the front of the house. And I'm just showing how I aligned that and glued them together. And this is going to be the edge piece. I'm just gluing it on the side, and then I'm going to cut it off. And this is how that's looking. Just the bottom piece and then the four sides, and then I made a second one. And this is a knob from an IKEA dresser that I didn't end up using, and I'm just going to cut the top part off and use it as the door knob for the dollhouse. So I had to cut this piece of wood to create the door, and then I'm just gluing that on, and there's the door. So I had this leftover paint. This is a color called Carbon Copy, and I'm painting the door with this color. And I'm also going to use this paint on the planter boxes. And the last thing I'm going to do is use this silver metallic leafing pen to color the doorknob. So I'm continuing to work on the outside of the house, and I'm using that Ryobi tool again to cut off the bottom of the window frame of this top right window to match the one on the left, which already was missing. It was broken off. And then the same in the front. The window on the lower left has the little piece of the frame, but the right side does not. So I'm just going to cut it off on the left side so it will match. And with that done, I'm using this spray paint in the color Vintage Blush by Rust-Oleum to spray over the pink areas of the house. I just want to mute the pink just a little bit. It's a little bright, and I just want it to be toned down a bit, and I thought this color would be great. So I'm spraying the roof front here and then the front windows. And I did have to go inside to spray paint the rest of the windows because it was so cold, the paint wasn't drying properly. So I'm just finishing those off, and I also spray painted the frames that I made, and then I sprayed the back half of the roof. And then because a lot of the spray paint did get on the rest of the house, I decided to just put a layer of primer on before I painted it. So here I'm just using some Kills primer that I always have, and I'm covering over the rest of the house. And to repair the door frame, which had some leftover holes from where it looks like the original door used to open and close, I'm just covering over that with some cut down popsicle sticks, and then I'll just paint right over this. So for the final coating of paint, I used some leftover paint called Bit of Sugar, and I've just covered the entire dollhouse with that minus the pink parts. Once all the outside painting was done, I glued on the planter boxes to the front windows after adding a little bit of greenery. And next I added the door. I didn't glue this or anything, it just fit nicely in the space. And when that was all set, I decided to glue on the base, which I'm using this wood glue. I'm just using this leftover piece of wood that is already glued together. It's already two pieces glued together, and I cut it down to size and just placing that underneath and letting it dry. And I did the same with the beam in the back. I had mentioned earlier that I wanted this to be up a little higher on a little platform, so I thought this was the best way. It's not too high, but it keeps the dollhouse from being right on the floor. Next, I'm gluing on the popsicle stick frames that I made to the windows that I cut out. And this is how it's looking on the sides as well as in the front. And now I'm working on the flooring on the inside. So I got these little rugs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using this paper as a stencil to see exactly where I need to cut down. This is the space where I'm going to put the ladder. I'm actually making ladders to go up to the second level and the third level, and I'm using that to cut out the space there, and that will fit perfectly in the room. And here I'm working on the other flooring. This is going to be the flooring in the living room, dining room, and I'm using just the flat craft sticks, and I'm staggering those kind of like the way bricks are laid, and that's going to be like a wooden floor look for that room. I use the paper as a template for the sides of the room, and also so that I could glue the wood to something rather than gluing it directly inside the dollhouse. And the pieces that are sticking out past the paper, I'm just going to cut those off with scissors. And then for the kitchen flooring, I use the same craft sticks, but I cut them down into squares somewhat. I didn't measure or anything. I just eyeballed it and cut down pieces, and then I'm just putting those down to kind of look like wooden tiles. And this is how that's going. I'm kind of staggering those just a bit at a diagonal and gluing them wherever they fit nicely. And I mixed these stains, this classic oak and this Jacobin stain. I mixed those together, and then I'm just using that on the two wooden floors. I'm taking those craft sticks again, and I'm framing out the doorways to cover over the jagged wood. cutting it down to size, and then I'm just gluing that into the door frames. And I'll also be using these sticks to frame the cutout windows. And I painted all the framed areas using the Bit of Sugar paint. And then I went on to paint the interior of the house. And for this room here, the top room, I'm using the same color I used for the door and the planter boxes, which is the carbon copy paint. And I'm only using it on the pink parts as an accent wall. For the two side walls, I used the same Bit of Sugar color. For the middle room, the master bedroom, I'm using Celebration Blue. This is a sampler container that I've had for a very long time. I'm just painting an accent wall here, and the side walls will also be Bit of Sugar. And I also used Bit of Sugar in the bathroom, so I didn't share painting that because it kind of looks just like what's already in there. And here I'm moving all the way down to the lower level. This is for the living room, dining room. I'm using this leftover paint in the color Misty Isle. And for the kitchen, I'm using this leftover paint again in the color Chic Gray. And this is how all the rooms are looking with all the paint done. And now I'm just adding all the flooring pieces in. This is one of the cutout rugs that I'm putting in this top room here. And adding this. This is some shelf liner, but it's perfect for the bathroom here. I had a leftover roll, so I just cut a small piece, and this is going to be the flooring in the bathroom. And then I'm placing the other rug cutout here. And then I'm placing the stained wood flooring into the lower level. And here is a final look of the entire interior and exterior of the house. Coming up next, I'll be sharing DIY dollhouse furniture for all of the rooms. The next video will be the living room, dining room, kitchen, and the video after that will be the bedrooms and the bathroom. So I hope you look out for those upcoming videos. And as always, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.